Hi everyone, and long time no see. Vladimir is here with some news and summary from the recent events in the studio with the quarterly report. Let's name it a quarterly report for the second quarter. So I guess the most obvious question is what happened? And in summary is stories from the Outbreak release took a lot more energy from me than I have expected. The team has really stepped up and did their best by covering some of my responsibilities, but the scope of the game was very big, and in the end, it was a lot more about trying to finalize the scope and tie some loose ends. To that contrast, I think version 2, which has been recently released, is a much closer version to the early access version that we've seen from the start, of course, with some additions based on your feedback. And overall, after such an intense sprint, I was working in a lower energy mode, focusing only on the necessary stuff and just trying to take some time to recover, if I'm entirely honest with you. With varying success. Yeah. As for the launch itself, I think stories from the Outbreak release took some different approaches to game development. So I had very different predictions when it came to numbers, and I have described multiple situations, which would be like a total disaster, a huge success, or a somewhat acceptable situation. And we kind of landed into the acceptable launch category. I was honestly pretty surprised how clear and exact I was with my predictions for this okay launch, and I think it went into one-on-one to what I expected. Having said this moves us to the financial situation of the studio, and I had to downscale the studio. Unfortunately, one person was needed to let go. Two other people have been moved to reduced workload with advanced warning. The money flow is very steady, and I'm pretty confident in this, but it's really not enough to maintain the studio of that size at this point. I'm still looking for side jobs, so maybe I can reduce my salary more confidently and allow the team to focus on what they do best, making games, because stories from the Outbreak is worth working and finishing it until the end. If you have anything lined up, like game dev consulting or just production jobs, let me know. The studio itself can confidently stay operational for the next 8 months due to the recent changes, and we are very committed to finishing at least stories from the Outbreak. That means that we are really able to implement everything that we planned from the start: more challenges for seasoned players, more overall content, narrative system improvements closer to the release, and hopefully extended mode support, because underneath it, the game engine really supports a lot of magic that can be done. And we just hope to expose this sort of tools to you. As for stories from the Outbreak, the game is somewhat, what I would say, in the middle of the development compared to what we had in mind. The whole process is being worked on, and the development continues as planned. Version 3 update in late July or August is going to feature a lot of replayability enhancements and more challenging gameplay options for seasoned players. So yes, I think it makes sense for the roguelikes or permadeath games to focus on replayability and challenge. Some other things. Druid Will Occur. About the Druid Will Occur. This is the game that we are intending to publish, and it has been in production with my help and involved the work of 3 other people. The artist, Trin, is Estonian. Programmer Nikolai is from Belarus, and the musician and composer Liga is from Latvia. All of them are residing here in Latvia right now, but they are not exactly the part of the studio. It is an experimental, chill game with no combat. It starts in a really cryptic manner, but reveals more and more details as you go. The local playtests have been pretty successful, and I have been very favorable, looking favorably at it. It takes around 30 minutes to complete entirely one playthrough, and it is a very chill and relaxing experience. The release is planned on June 15th, mark the date, June 15th, And I think if you enjoyed our other peaceful games like Merchant of the Skies and Luna's Fishing Garden, I am very confident that you will like it, and you will not be disappointed because a lot of heart went into making that game. And I think with this, I can properly conclude today's report. With the current dynamics and the amount of work I'm taking on, I think it makes sense to switch to quarterly reports, but maybe this will change in the future. I do appreciate your prolonged support, and thank you for being patient with me. Stay tuned for more news and for the next game and update releases. Vladimir is out. Bye.